I may be like dealing with a client or.
That's fine. Anybody come in and out, the link is out there. We're going to be talking about Bill Lolo versus Eric Jewell on Neanderthals, the after show. It's honestly not even worth discussing, but we're going to do it anyways because why not? Bill, we gave you a little advice going into this. The fact that I personally have not been shy, in my opinion, on the fact that I think Eric is mentally disabled, and I'm not being flippant about that. I do think that there's something seriously wrong with him. I don't engage with him. I find it unethical to do so. He's been around for many, many years, and I just got to the point where I think that he's not somebody that we should bother with. But again, that's up to you, everybody's individual to decide that for themselves. But I think the mere fact that you had that discussion with him, and I think everybody in the live chat had noted that he actually stepped away. He didn't even bother to listen to most of what you had to say. He picked up bits and pieces, and then when he came back, he addressed nothing of what you said, and he went into a diatribe on Piltdown Man and Haeckel's drawings.
Well, the interesting thing was I presented evidence and mentioned several times we had the completed genomes and we had DNA evidence, and then his first thing coming back was saying that we couldn't prove it, we couldn't tie them together because we had no DNA. And
yeah, he didn't bother to
just blew me away. I mean, it was as if he didn't listen to the presentation at all. And then he went into talking about, agreeing with me, talking about different species. And he mentioned the coyote and the wolf and how they're different species, and they could make a coy wolf or whatever. And but then and said after I said no, they aren't different species, they're all the same species. So again, it was kind of that was an eye-opener. But he wasn't prepared at all. He wasn't prepared. He didn't know the subject matter. He didn't want to define race, even though that was his original claim. I don't know, it was surprising.
It seems to be a trend. Seems to be a trend on that side. Like they come into the argument like without even giving you the respect to even look into it. It's got to be mind-numbing.
Well, see, one thing about Eric is Eric does not know about these topics. He has nothing but prats. He'll fall back into this whole, there's been fraud like Piltdown Man, things like that, not even remotely understanding a word that Bill was saying. Matter of fact, the mere fact that he started off his rebuttal talking about abiogenesis really was indicative of the fact that whenever Eric starts talking about these topics, he gets really confused about what the topic actually is. And so when Bill, you were presenting this, at some point, he even said he had stepped away. Did you notice that?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we don't even know when he stepped away.
I don't know that he stepped away, rather was just not listening the entire time.
Maybe he was tuning his guitar.
Yeah.
I think he was just waiting for Bill to shut up so he could talk, because it really is just kind of the Wolf Bitten show, isn't it?
Well, Wolf likes to do that. Yeah, what Wolf's modus operandi is trying to get people to go over to his channel, and then he has mod control. He mutes them, boots them. It's a total shit show from start to finish, and that's what he's been doing for a very long time. Now, Bill, you were smart not to have it on his channel because you were able to have some control over the proceedings rather than him trying to monopolize the conversation. But if you did notice, he tried to interrupt you countless times.
Oh, absolutely.
I said that he would.
Yeah.
I did call that, and not.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think I did interrupt him. I mean, at least not while he was giving his turns. I certainly tried not to. But then he did start going on and on and on at one point, after I had only given like 2 minutes and he was into several minutes or whatever. So I did say, hey, kind of wrap it up here and keep equal time or whatever. So, but do
you want to go into the kind of the history of this particular discussion? I mean, this was not a spur of the moment thing. This actually has a backstory to it, and I know Eric had made a video about this a couple days ago, which I don't respond to any of these videos any longer, and especially that video. I mean, that was just he started off, which was funny. He didn't even get the right group right. His video was about some other group, which was just a Facebook group that I have, which is
an invite-only group, really. I mean, yeah, it's only 70 something members, but it's like an invite only thing. It's not a everyone can join group. So he was mocking the number of people in the group.
But that was
now,
what
I finally
about, Bill.
Wasn't. Oh, okay.
No. So that's the thing. He wasn't talking about the back channel I have for the Great Debate Community, which is only about 70 people. That channel was only supposed to have been for mods originally. That's all it really was for, and a couple other people, but it kind of took a life of its own, and so it doesn't have very many people, and it's not supposed to. No, the group that he got kicked out of was Kent Hovind, the Man in the Ministry.
Oh, that one, yes.
Yeah, that one, right?
Which is a fantastic group.
It is.
What is the megalomaniacal name?
I love that group. I really do. It's got great stuff in it, and so
it's a disaster. It's a shit show. It really is.
That's what's great about it. But it's a well-run shit show.
Well, now it is, I think.
Right.
But
that's the group that he got kicked out of, right? Not mine.
Right.
So he fundamentally got the story mixed up, right? And what really kind of happened was Bill was supposed to have a debate with this guy, and Bill wanted Eric to go. He wanted to be the last one to be part of the end of the discussion of the debate. In other words, he wanted Eric to go second to last, and then Bill would have the final word, right? So Bill wanted to end with his final.
I just asked him to go first. That was all it was.
Yeah, you asked him to go first, then you go last.
Right. And initially he agreed. At least he said, okay, blah, 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 blah. And then I think he realized a few minutes later, well, wait a minute, maybe something's up. And then so he just started making a huge deal after I'd agreed to everything about, I can't let you go first, I can't let you go last, whatever. You've got something up your sleeve. And he wouldn't do it. He backed out, so, and then of course you had made a typo. I had made a typo. I was working at the time, and I'm kind of half paying attention to whatever. And he called us out on those. And we had mentioned, okay, we made an error, and of course he doesn't show that in the screenshots in the video he made. The weird thing is that I really didn't know who the guy was, but evidently he had me blocked. And I think I kind of remember about a month ago, I was looking at one of the groups and just kind of like laughing at a couple posts like doing the little laugh emoji or whatever, at a couple posts, and all of a sudden, boom, somebody was gone. I thought, well, and I think that was him. I hadn't interacted with him before. I had just laughed at a couple of his posts, and I was immediately blocked because I had other people then telling me that he was in that group. There's some guy in there challenging people, and so I said, well, tell him to unblock me, and maybe I'll challenge him. So I started reading some of the things he said, and it just stood out immediately when he said, Neanderthals were just a race of modern humans. I thought, well, this will be easy to defeat. If he's going to be that big of a jerk about wanting to debate somebody, he's going to make outlandish statements like that. This will be easy.
It was a little more complicated than that, because I made what I said was, look at why does it really kind of matter if you go first or last? But I'm like, go last or go first, whatever I said. I made a mistake in one of the words, and I corrected it in the very next comment. I even said I edited it, and I made a mistake. Well, he went on for about 4 hours about this, and I don't know why the links are not working in live chat. People saying the link isn't working. The link is at the GDC, so go into the GDC G+ page and you get the link right there. I put it right there, so just go look at the GDC main page and you'll get the link. But anyways, I had one of the admins. He actually called one of the admins in to look at it, which was, I think, Paul Pot. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And is that his name, Paul Pot?
Yeah.
And he looked at it, and he basically said to Eric that he was acting like a child. It was clear that it was a mistake that was corrected. There was absolutely no ill intent behind it, and that he was making basically a mountain out of molehill. And after Eric just spamming GIF after GIF after GIF, basically.
I went back and actually counted him on that thread just for the heck of it. After he made his video, he put 78 animated GIFs. 78, yeah, on one thread.
Wow. And that's spamming, and so he was removed. for that. He was removed for breaking rules in the community, and of course he lost his mind about that. So we made a video about that. I had very little to do with the discussion about him and the debate that Bill was supposed to have. I was only asked to moderate it and host it. Other than that, I didn't have anything to do with it. So yeah, he's just not all quite there. But anyways,
yeah, I leave
hey,
a little
Kristen,
bit, and the
did you
whole place
watched
turns
that,
to
right?
crap.
Yeah, I watched the whole thing, and I just want to interject for 1 second and say very big thank you to Bill that he was civil at the end, because I feel that he would just start flipping shit, honestly, at the end. But yeah, thank you very much for being civil, at least with that kind of guy. Anyway, I'm muting myself. Go in.
No problem. Yeah, I mean, Bill's really good at this stuff, and I mean, I honestly think Bill's wasting his time with Eric, and I knew that he was. Matter of fact, I even said it wasn't going to go very long. I knew he wasn't going to address any point you made, and he didn't. And you called him out on that. You said, you know, your rebuttal had nothing to do with what I said. Here, I gave you genetic evidence. I gave you all this other stuff, and he wanted to talk about abiogenesis and Piltdown Man. And you were well within your rights to end the debate at that time, and you did. And that was I think the best thing you could have done.
Right.
People are asking for the link to the debate in the live chat. It will be on the video description afterwards. I'm not putting anything in the video description because it's still demonetizing everything. It's ridiculous to have all these shows and all these video hangouts and all these things that we do and then have them instantly get demonetized. So what I'm doing is I'm just putting a header of babies laughing, puppies and kittens playing with string. These are some of my favorite things. Don't demonetize me, bro. That's it. That's all I'm having, because at that point, if I get demonetized, YouTube hates puppies and kittens and puppies and playing with strings and whatever. So yeah, I'll add that in afterwards. But I will put the link to the video description in there, and it was on Bill Lolo's channel.
Right.
So, okay. I just want to get this straight. You debated this Eric Jewell. I've never heard of Eric Jewell, so I don't really know much about the guy. And he refused to actually talk about what the subject of the debate was?
Not so much refused, he's incapable of doing so.
Okay, so he's one of that type. Okay, got it.
Yeah, he's not even fruit. He's not even fruit on the ground.
Yeah, I spent 12 minutes talking about Neanderthals, their genome, the fossil evidence, why they're different from us, how they're similar to us, and why they are considered a different species. He came back with about less than 1 minute of, you don't have their DNA.
Yeah.
And
he came back with God did it and abiogenesis.
Yeah, yeah. And then he went into 10 minutes of totally unrelated things. And I came back with, I'm not going to talk about all these totally unrelated things. I'm going to address your saying we didn't have the DNA, which yes, we do. And then he kept saying, no, you don't. And then, and specifically he's saying we don't have the 430,000-year-old, at the split of Homo heidelbergensis and Neanderthals. And I kept saying, yes, we do. And I pulled up the Nature article and displayed it. And I mean, again, he just kept denying it. And then I asked him to define race, because his initial thing was that they were a different race. And he went into definitions of species and how if they could interbreed, they were species. But he contradicted what he had said earlier about different species that could produce fertile offspring. So it was all, I mean, it was a train wreck, like I think Steve mentioned.
Like Steve put in the title of this.
Fell apart.
Yeah, I'm not exaggerating. It really, really was a train wreck. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but Neanderthals.
The oldest hominoid DNA we have, that particular sample from 430,000 years ago.
Yeah, well, correct me if I'm wrong, but we're Neanderthals and humans at the point of divergence. They were still interbreeding for quite some time, and then Neanderthals died about 40,000 years ago. But at that point, they probably were unable to reproduce with modern humans.
We diverged from heidelbergensis, so we weren't doing a lot of interbreeding with the at that time with the group the population that eventually became us. It wasn't again until maybe like around 120,000 years ago, and then again around 60 to 80,000 years ago. And there really isn't any evidence that we interbred much with the very last Neanderthals that were, say, 37, 38,000 years ago.
But the earlier one.
What's-
The earlier ones.
Can I ask you a question, actually, just because I never get to talk about people that know about this kind of stuff, Bill? What do you think the effect of Mount Toba was on that particular set of samples, especially considering the finds we find in places like Kebra?
Now, again, I'm not sure I'm understanding what you said. The effect of what?
And the Mount Toba eruption about 70,000 years ago, because obviously we get a complete secession in the archaeological record, certainly around sort of North India and sort of West China, around that period for any sort of finds. And obviously then we had the bottleneck in the human population. But what we did find is a lot of Neanderthal and Homo sapien finds around places like sort of Yemen, that part of the Middle East, moving up towards sort of...
I know that we are closest to some Neanderthals from that kind of area. It's funny. I was watching just a couple of days ago. John Hawkes did a lecture on the Neanderthal and Homo sapiens DNA, and we are closest. The Neanderthal in us is closer to these Neanderthal population from Russia than it is to the European populations. And
the Denisovans.
Yeah, and there are actually some types or some areas where it appears that Homo sapiens and Neanderthals did not really interbreed at all, and other areas where they did much more, and it could have been compatibility, or it could have just been the cultures that, that inhabited those areas. We're not really sure. There's still a lot left to learn about it. But
I've always liked the Mount Toba kind of theories that sit behind that, because obviously you had sort of sudden population reductions, and it's almost like, okay, well, she's okay.
The other thing that a lot of people don't realize about Neanderthals is that. Again, and this is stuff because I've been just researching it a bit the last few days that I didn't know either, is that there weren't that many Neanderthals at any given time. You could have taken the entire population of Neanderthals existing at one time, and they would have always fit into a normal sized football stadium. Or, I mean, there weren't hundreds and hundreds of thousands of them. I mean, there were at times tens of thousands of them, and at other times maybe a little more. But they were small populations, it appears, that were a lot of times living isolated from each other, not like Homo sapiens. Homo sapiens, it appears, even in Africa before they left, there was a lot of mixing going on between northern and western and southern and eastern Africa. We used to think it was more one population from eastern Africa that left, which it was, but that doesn't mean that they weren't genetically influenced by other populations in Africa before they left. So, that's kind of interesting, and it's a little bit newer now that we have a lot more DNA evidence.
Eric,
I think.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
I was just gonna say real quick, but Eric has to have this narrative because he's a young Earth creationist, right? So he cannot accept anything that's older than 7,000 years to begin with. So when you start mentioning these DNA samples from tens of thousands of years ago, to him they automatically are false. He automatically puts them by fiat that they're wrong, and that's one thing that we need to be concerned about.
That's the whole thing.
What's that?
It's not tens; it's hundreds of thousands of years.
Well, I mean, but we still, when we go back further than that, but I mean, we also have DNA from when they started dying out, which was 37 and 40,000 years ago. We have DNA samples. So, I mean, even back then, the last ones that died, we have samples of. And again, they probably were reproductively isolated from us. But when he starts going into these definitions of species, and I think Dr. Hermades points out, I mean, he just has this strict thing for what a species is when it's not as cut and dry as Eric wants to make it out to be.
Yep. Yeah, and I tried to bring that up too, but again, it just wasn't worth arguing with him about it. It looked like it was just going to go to a back and forth. Yes, it is. No, it isn't. And we all know that species is a gray area. There's no clear definition of species, and the closer the two species are to their common answer, as far as more recently diverged, the more likelihood they are able to sometimes at least produce fertile offspring.
So it's not black and white, it's multiple shades all through the gray.
Yeah, and it's one thing to even some of them still produce offspring, but some of them are not viable offspring. Some of them have post-zygotic termination. They can actually, breed together, but then they're not viable. They actually the fetus dies or in utero or soon after birth, and so that
Right.
would still be biologically reproductively isolated. Because as Fiona would say in a hangout, if they don't produce successfully, then they don't. What the same thing as not reproducing,
And
right? So
in research on that recently too, I did notice that sometimes these hybrids are able to reproduce, but only with one or the other parent species, not with each other.
right.
So again, and to me, that's all evidence of evolution. I mean, it's evidence that that's how we could get gene flow from one species to another, like a Neanderthals to us. It's also evidence that of common ancestry. I mean. The genetic evidence matches the fossil evidence. The genetic markers match what we know too.
Well, you could get onto that technical things with Eric, but the problem is, again, he's not paying attention to anything you have to say. So even if you got into genetic markers, even if you showed exactly why there's a commonality between us and other members of the Homo group, he's not going to listen. He's not going to care. He's already made up his mind that all this stuff is bunk to begin with, and it cannot be because the Earth is young. So he's not looking for evidence. He's looking for a sparring partner so he can bring up all this extraneous stuff that has nothing to do with the actual topic. Again, his very first statement in rebuttal was dealing with abiogenesis, which was clearly unrelated to Neanderthals. I mean, come on. There's just no correlation between the two. So,
well, you're right, and I just would mention those things, but again, I wasn't going to discuss or dwell on them or try to convince him because it wasn't going to happen. I just would make sure I mentioned them and then I would move on.
Yeah, no, I'm glad that you didn't. There's no reason to. When it comes to Pratt's, you just don't even bother with them any longer. Things like I hear the word Piltdown Man from a creationist. I'm already moving on to something else. I'm done. Seriously, there's no reason to go to a Pratt when they are that ignorant. And speaking of ignorant, hey, heretic woman. No, I'm kidding. Hi, girl.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Did you watch the discussion, heretic?
I didn't. I was busy installing a new video card, but I've tangled with Mr. Jewell before. It was almost just over a year ago, and it was the same deal. He was in a group that I'm in. He's going, "Oh, atheists are too chicken to debate me," blah 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 blah. And so it was like right before I was going to bed. So I just said, "Hey, look, I have a show. Come on my show. I'll debate you." And of course, you know how Eric is. "You go right now on my channel." I'm like, "No, I'm going to bed, but I'll debate you." "Oh, you're chicken, blah, blah, blah." So I made a separate post and said, "I formally challenge you to a debate, blah, blah, blah," because look, I'm going to bed, asshole. And he actually came back as a surprise. He said, "Oh yeah, okay, I'll do it." But I was very specific. I said, "You're going to do it on my channel at the time that we mutually agree on. It's not going to be a right now, the second kind of shit." And he agreed. And I had a friend all lined up to moderate it for me. This was before I even knew you, Steve. And the whole thing, we had a group chat going. And the thing is, in the meantime, I had gone and looked at his channel and I figured out what his MO was, which was one of the reasons why there's no way I was going on his channel. And so I did that. And I also decided I'm not debating evolution with this guy, because what he's got this like library of pseudoscience bullshit that he just pulls out, and like it sounds really impressive and it uses a lot of big words that, they probably are scientific things, but I doubt very much he's using them the way they're meant to be.
He's not remotely.
It's not. But it's for like, I'm not a science person. I've never studied this stuff. So I realized it wouldn't matter even if I did have the specific knowledge to debunk it point by point, but I didn't anyway. And I was like, it's all bullshit anyway. I could tell just by the sources that he's using. So I was like, no, I'm not debating evolution. So he said to me, pick a topic and we'll iron it out. I'm like, great. So I decided, based on watching some of his quote debates, that I was going to pick the topic of what constitutes evidence. And he did not like that. Like the minute he found out that I wasn't going to touch anything to do with evolution, he started pitching a fit. And he reneged on everything. Like we had a date picked and, all of that. And he started, no, I never agreed to that. Blah, 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 blah. And my friend finally put his foot down. I was like, look, asshole, this is what you said, pick a topic. She picked a topic. Like, fucking deal with it. And he wouldn't. So he ended up rage quitting and it never happened.
And we're demonetized. Yes, okay. Hey, anyways.
Hey guys, I gotta run. I've got my girlfriend's 4 grandchildren here, and she's not home yet, so I got a lot going on in the background. And but
we'll cover it, man.
Thank you very much, and thanks for the hangout. And
thank you, Bill.
I will talk to you all soon.
Do we know who this person who came in? Club of New Jerusalem. Do we know who he is?
I have no idea.
Club, if you want to be unmuted or seen in broadcast, type in the group chat.
Who are you?
I know who Richard is.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't know.
I was really hoping for like a double feature with Richard debating him afterwards, because that's what he had been talking about in the group chat, and I was like super excited. I was like, this is going to be my day. It's just watching this back to back.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't expecting much, but I even got less than what I was kind of hoping for, because I knew he wasn't going to be paying much attention, but for Eric to go right into this litany of oh look, there's been fraud. Oh look, abiogenesis. Oh look, I mean, it was just unbelievable for the fact that he didn't address a single thing that Bill was saying.
It wouldn't matter, and that's why I realized it wouldn't matter if I did have more specific knowledge like Bill does. Because Eric,
no, it doesn't.
Well, no, he sticks to
Eric
canned
just wants to play
and all those same talking points he sticks to the canned responses and the same talking points every time. And if you want to talk about anything that diverges from that, he throws a hissy fit because he's a toddler.
Yeah,
and that's why I've said I don't recommend anybody engaging with him. I even said he needs to be just shunned. In fact, when he dropped into the group, Caitlin, we're in a lot of groups, all of us, and one of the groups that we're in is a very good creationist group that we're in, and it's actually enjoyable. It's actually a lot of people in that one. It's like, I don't know how many tens of thousands of people in it, but a lot. And he decided to try to be a member of that group. And everybody has already known about this guy. Everybody's already played this little game, and they've been warned against him. So I don't think he's going to last very long in that particular group, but I won't engage with him. The last time I engaged with him, he was so dishonest. It was ridiculous. And he deleted the video, or he privatized it, one or the other. But I had saved it. I uploaded it.
He
to my channel.
Came into that group just with all guns blazing, with nothing to do with the group, just basically calling you and Bill out. And it was ridiculous. And it was exactly because the other groups that were all in, he had been removed from, and he had no other way of goading you guys. And so he added himself to this other group just to bitch. And it was ridiculous. And everyone called him out. They knew exactly what he was doing.
Right, and Bill decided to indulge him, and Bill's well within his rights to do that. I think he got it out of his system. He won't be doing it again. Right?
I think he did it just to shut him up more than anything.
I have to go watch that.
Look, shut the hell up. We're not running away from you. You're just not worth our time. But here, I'll take care of it real quick. I don't think it was indulging him. I think it was just shutting him up.
But Caitlin, do you think this is okay? He had a shot at the brass ring. I mean, let's be realistic here. Bill Ludlow is high man on the totem pole at the moment. Yes. So he, when he debated Hovind, it escalated him to a godlike superstar status, as far as I'm concerned.
So funny.
Right?
They're obsessed with him.
Have any of you guys looked at some of the crap on Jewell's channel?
Yeah,
I don't.
I subjected myself to a few just to see what he was like.
I've tried to watch a couple, and I didn't make it more than a couple minutes in.
The total conspiracy nut.
Well, you guys don't remember because a lot of you guys haven't been around very long, but Eric came around a few years back, and this is before most people's time. And one of the things he was running was that he had the claim that he could disprove evolution in under a minute. Yeah, in under a minute. So we actually, and I don't have the evidence for this. I'm sorry, I don't remember what channel it was on. So you're gonna have to like believe me or don't, whatever. I don't care. But he was on some channel, and we gave him a minute to do it. I don't even remember what his argument was. It was just so bad, but I think it was dealing with Piltdown Man and Hickle's drawing kind of thing. I mean, it was that stupid level, and we were just laughing and just kind of like made him go away. But he had a video on that years ago. So if you go to his channel, he has a video on debunking evolution under 1 minute, and that was just shtick. And he really thought he'd have should have gotten the Nobel Prize or something. I mean, the guy's just nuts.
His ego is pretty immense.
I refer to him on Facebook as Dog the Bounty Hunter because that's what he looks like to me. I called him that one time, and he actually liked the comment, and then for some reason started posting links to Nirvana music videos, just for some reason, and was writing quotes from Nirvana songs, and wasn't even doing it right. He was getting the lyrics wrong, and so I was just immediately annoyed. He's a bizarre little
troll,
fingerball of a person.
He looks like a cave troll.
Yeah. I mean, it's again, I'm not telling people what to do by any stretch of imagination. I just think they need to be forewarned. And I think if they have any hold off about engaging with this guy, about me telling them don't bother, they need to go watch the video that just was done with Bill Ludlow. I mean, that was just a train wreck.
There was one video on his channel, and he had this woman on, and I can't remember her name, but he actually had her list all of her credentials. So she had degrees in theology, and she had degrees in linguistics, and she had studied theology and the early texts and everything. I think she might have even had a PhD. I don't remember, but she had a lot of letters after her name. And he made her go through the whole thing to talk about her qualifications. And then they got talking about stuff in the Bible. And she would say, well, so in this first century writing, so-and-so said this. And she's quoting original sources. And he's like, well, where's your evidence? He's like, I'm quoting primary sources. He's like, well, you don't have any evidence.
Yeah, that's a shtick.
It's like he expected her to produce, the 2,000-year-old manuscript in front of him, and even then, he probably would have said it was a fake. So
yeah, the only qualifications you need to talk to that guy is I graduated kindergarten.
I can tell you.
I mean, seriously, you don't.
Yeah, when they started today, Bill came out with his qualifications and what he does at the museum and all of that, and then Eric came on and was just like, I'm Eric and I love God. And that was it. Yeah. That was all he had and all he thinks he needs. And
yeah, I mean, I got a question. How did it even become a theological discussion? I mean, it was supposed to be about Neanderthals, and all of a sudden he's talking about God. I don't see the correlation.
Theological discussion.
Yeah, he will do whatever he can to twist it into that because that's all he really cares about. I'm going to tell everybody that evolution is a lie and they better kiss Jesus's ass. That's his whole shit.
Richard, do you want to chime in here? I saw that you were watching the discussion. You got some knowledge in this area, so what do you think? Richard?
Can you guys hear me?
Not very well, but I can hear you.
Okay, let me figure out how to turn the microphone up or something.
It sounds like you're using an external mic or something, internal mic, like your laptop or something. Do you have an external one?
No, it's an internal.
Can you guys hear him?
I can hear a little bit.
Okay, very, very faint.
I can turn you up a little bit, but it might be, I don't want to clip. That's right. Richard? I don't think he can hear us. Not very well.
Not really.
All right, well, when Richard's figuring it out. So, hey, claim your inheritance. I take it you didn't even watch the debate, but you're going to chime in anyways, right? I wouldn't even call it a debate.
Psychic. You
But your psychic ability. How do you think a debate went?
Please say welcome first, Steve.
No, yeah, I was just gonna listen in and chime in where I fit in.
Because I wouldn't even call that a debate. That was not. I don't know what the heck that was.
There's no such thing as debate and Eric Jewell in the same sentence.
Yeah, I refuse to even give enough credit to call that a debate.
Like
one time I argued with my 6-year-old nephew about who was touching the other one more, and that's about, I feel like, the same level of discourse that Eric offers.
Yes,
that's
how he debates, is the same way my nephew debates.
Yeah, it's very childish. I mean, he's been that way since day one. He has a set routine, right? Like Eric Dick was saying when he was asking for evidence. Well, when you give him evidence, he doesn't recognize evidence for what it is.
No. He reminds me of the guy that ran the first chat room that I ever signed into. It was the fundamental Christian guy. And that's actually where I learned how to debate and discuss the basics of evolution, because I'd never studied it. And I would go to Talk Origins and I would research the shit out of something. I would come back and this was a Yahoo group, so it was email, so you could do like practically a fucking thesis with links and diagrams and the whole thing, and I would post it, and then I would say, well, there's your evidence, and he's like, I don't see any evidence. What evidence? You didn't post anything. Like, it's infuriating.
Well, because, like I said, he doesn't recognize evidence for what it is, so why bother? I mean, he didn't even understand genetics, the simple genetic stuff that Bill was talking about, which he didn't get in any complex stuff. I mean, let's be realistic. He didn't get in anything technical. But he was trying to explain to him that, look, we do have a relationship between us and these other hominids that were. And to him, they're all modern humans, and yet he showed there's quite a bit of distinction between us and them, both, with the skull size completely different. I mean, you could tell alone that the skulls are completely different from us and Neanderthals.
I don't know. I've never studied any of this shit. I saw the Smithsonian human evolution exhibit where there's like a wall of different skulls, and I'm like, you could look at that and go, well, that's not human. Hello.
Well, no, I mean, Neanderthals have more of a brow ridge and they don't have a chin. That's the first thing you notice as the main anatomical difference in the skull.
And did you guys notice? Did he bring up horses? I thought he brought up horses, or was that or did I hear
horses and dogs?
Okay, he did bring up horses. Okay,
yeah,
because I think he was talking about the young Earth creationist Pratt about ungulates, that there was some display that had some mistake. They had shut it down for 24 hours to fix the display. And then creationists has ran with it, saying, oh, look, this museum had this incorrect display about horse evolution, and it was so bad that they had to shut it down. That was the narrative that came out.
I remember him talking about horses, and I feel like I heard something about toes. I don't know. I was literally in the process of like gouging my eyes out, but there was some discussion of toes and horses is what I remember of that part.
Yeah, I thought so too, because I'm pretty sure he's talking about the three-toed ungulate.
I think that's what.
Yeah.
And I can't remember
because we've got quite good transition from the three-toed to the two-toed to the single.
Right. But which museum was that at? It's been so long, I don't remember. Hey, we got Seneca coming in. Awesome.
I do not know.
Yeah, it's been so long, but I remember that.
Another Eric Jewell debate survivor.
Yeah, speaking of which, exactly. Yes. Good point, Seneca. Welcome.
Just recently, like last week, I think.
Yeah, but that one, you know what? That one wasn't even as bad as this one. At least I can listen to Seneca and I mean, I can listen to obviously Bill, but I mean, the whole point of this debate that had that Bill and Eric had, there was just no communication between the two. I think with Seneca's, there was some kind of dialogue.
Really, I feel like I think in terms of, I mean, Eric didn't address any of Bill's points, but I mean, don't take it the wrong way, Seneca, but like, I feel like that debate, nothing was accomplished because it was there was absolutely no structure. At least with Bill's, there was structure, But Seneca's, it was just Eric just yelling over him the entire time. And
Yeah,
so
I
I felt like
crazy.
absolutely nothing was accomplished in that one.
Well, I wouldn't expect them to be anything to be accomplished in any of them, but you're right. There was a lot of yelling and
yeah, I mean, Seneca didn't even get to really get a word in edgewise or make any points because it was mostly just.
Well, it started off okay. It started off okay, but it
berating
evolved very quickly.
Yeah.
Seneca, do you want to like add in on that?
Yeah, I think he was kind of thinking that I haven't checked really that many other of his debates. I think he was kind of just hoping that he was going to catch somebody. He kind of, one of his sticks is asking about the DNA tests and how can you do lineage. And the instant he realized that of how evolution works and what the evidence for it was going to be isn't just that, he got kind of rattled and wanted to start moving on to other things, because I wanted to try and explain what it actually means to be a transitional fossil and how we predict them and how it's a test. And he didn't want to hear about that. He just wanted to yell about, do you have DNA lab tests? And I'm like, you don't have to be in a lab to do science. And he's like, need DNA lab tests. Do you have them? No. Well, let's move on to something else. And
yeah, he didn't understand what a transitional fossil was, and he also doesn't even understand the difference between experimental and observational science.
Yeah. And the funniest thing for that one was one of the times I did get something in, I got him rattled, was when he would get after a while he'd just move on to these things. Whenever he was noticed he had a gap, he'd kind of mutate and kind of move on to something else. And one of them was he just started calling radiometric dating a speculation. He got off into that, and I just said, "Oh, well, that's completely not true about isochron dating." And he's like, "Isotron dating?"
Do you remember the hangout we had with him? He's like, oh, I know what methodological naturalism, but for the audience, can you tell what it is? I'm like, no, you could explain it. He's like, he had no idea what methodological naturalism is. And he's like, what's that?
Yeah, you did not want me to explain what isotron dating was.
It's funny you mentioned that, because guess who I'm going to be talking to in about 5 hours. I'll be talking to geologist Dr. Kevin Henke, and physicist Dr. Gary, I think his last name was Lachey. And guess what we're going to be talking about? Helium diffusion rates, and a little bit, I think, about isochron dating. Because I want to ask them some questions on it. But yeah, they both write for Talk Origins. They both have numerous papers on helium diffusion rates, and we're going to be setting things up tonight, and we're going to be having the discussion on January 12th. Dr. Henke is going to have about an hour-long presentation that I've looked over. It's quite technical. I'm not going to front. And I've looked over Dr. Lachey's as well, and I gotta hope that's how you pronounce his name. And they're very, very technical presentations. I don't want people to get scared off by that, though. They're fascinating. These guys know their stuff inside and out. And I just want to give people fair warning, though. Brush up on a little bit of math, because he does use a little bit of math in here. So, but yeah, isochron dating is fascinating, because Dr. Humphreys and the Rate Project even admitted that isochron geochronology works, that the chronometric dating methods that they use for isochron dating does work, and does indicate 500 millions of years of radioactive decay that they came up with. So they even admit that it does indicate deep time. Their workaround for it is that Dr. Humphreys suggests there's something called accelerated decay. But unfortunately, he has no evidence that accelerated decay even exists, nor does he have an explanation of, if it does exist, how do you get around the heat problem, and the fact that atoms would even formed if accelerated decay actually existed. So there are minor problems, but basically, if what he said was true, we wouldn't exist. Minor detail.
The minor detail of the fact that none of this would be here.
Yeah, it's kind of self-evident that there is no such thing as accelerated decay, because that would change the speed of light, and obviously, if that changes, everything else changes, like electromagnetic constants. So
Z pinch. Sorry,
Z pinch. I still think that should have won. I'm sorry. The fact that somebody claimed that Z pinch creates uranium, I lost it. I was like, wow, that's just what the. People have no idea what we're talking about, but that's okay. You do. It's funny, though. People had asked who moderated this. This had no moderator, believe it or not. This was just Bill and Eric. Bill would have been happy with it.
Bill kind of did a good job of keeping Eric quiet, though. Like, anytime he tried to get in there, Bill kind of shut him down, and it was kind of nice.
He shut him down.
Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't need a moderator, but it would have been nice. I would have shut him down a long time ago. When if the first thing out of his mouth was abiogenesis, I would have been done. I would have nope. Shh, it's quiet time.
Yeah. That's the thing, though. He's got his script, and he doesn't know what to do if he can't use the script, and so he just freaks out and has a temper tantrum.
I got. By the way, I got a nuclear. I don't want to say physicist. He's not technically a nuclear physicist. He has a degree in nuclear stuff. And he's actually going nuts, going, Z-Pinch creates uranium. Yeah. Seriously, Joe, this was this was a claim by somebody that Z-Pinch creates heavier elements, including uranium and plutonium. I don't know. I don't even know how you wrap your head around that one, so I can't even try. But yeah, that was his claim.
Well, to be fair, he was also arguing for accelerated decay as well. So.
Yeah. Oh, he's okay. Nuclear engineer. He's got BS in nuclear engineering. I didn't think it was physics, but engineering. Yeah. And he had the same background I did for the most part. He just
had BS in nuclear engineering.
I didn't finish my degree, so I'm not a nuclear engineer.
BS.
I could have got a degree in nuclear engineering, nuclear technologies, but I didn't finish.
I know my old roommate was a bachelor. Had a Bachelor of Science, and we used to call her the BS girl all the time.
and it is either Z-Pinch or Z, depending on where you're from. Tom asked what it is. Z-Pinch is basically what you find in a fusion reactor, and what it is it constricts the well, it's actually a plasma, such that it creates very high temperatures that can start fusing helium or hydrogen nuclei into helium. It's when you look at a bell curve called a fission yield curve, there's different elements that will yield different amount of energy depending on if you slam them together, you break them apart, either with a fission or fusion. And on the very beginning of the part of the fission yield curve, you get a lot of energy extracted when you combine hydrogen together into helium, but you need very high temperatures and pressures to do it. And so that's where the Z-Pinch comes in. It has nothing to do with uranium whatsoever. Joe says I've got an equivalency of nuclear engineering technology degree. Technically, that's true. I mean, I don't have one, so that's why I don't talk about it. But I have enough credits for a degree in nuclear engineering technology. Yes. All I would have to do basically is write to a school, pay them money. I think I need one class, and that the last time I looked at the class I needed, though, and it might have changed, but I thought it had to do with reactor neutron flux densities and stuff. And I'm like, I don't remember any of that stuff. I'm not going to go take a course in reactor flux densities after 25 years. Come on. No way. But now I just bored everybody to death. See, you guys start talking about something that I know a little about, and everybody just kind of shuts the hell up. It's always about biology, right?
If they started talking about Boolean algebra, yeah, I'd put the room to sleep.
1 plus 0.
0 plus 1. Yeah, go on.
Hey, it was nice to have someone talking about paleoarchaeology. So
we do have a wide variety of topics. Frankie! Look, he looks lost. Look at him. He's just looking around the room going, what the hell did I step into?
Yo, Steve, what's your opinion on mud fossils?
What claim? Oh, you're breaking up bad. I heard mud fossil. That's all I heard, to be honest.
What's your opinion on mud fossils?
They're fossils that were in mud.
Gotcha.
Okay. I mean, they exist.
I think Steve's been hanging around us too much now.
I need to hang around you guys more. I love your show. I enjoy that so much. I want to be on there once a month.
Like
you can make that
say to that, mud fossils. They're fossils that were mud.
They're
what time of games?
Do you guys listen to the Geek Room?
No, that's why I was asking the question.
What was your question?
What sort of game stuff? What sort of Geek Room stuff do you cover?
Oh, let him describe
his
show.
We go over conspiracy theorists, most of the time flat earthers, religious nuts, and just overall cringy shit. And we just
cringy is the understatement.
That's the opposite. Redline, if you don't already know Redline.
Yeah, I know. We go over Steve's girlfriend, the piss cinema girl.
Do you let people challenge you?
Yeah, if you want.
it's not really like a.
Yeah, we don't really
type-
debate.
Yeah.
We'll host a debate, but say like if someone if we riff a video and stuff like that, and someone's like, "Hey, I got an issue with what you said. Can I come on your show?" We're like, "Yeah, you can come on your show and defend your video."
Yeah, I'll
other
never be the
than-
same after P Enema Girl. Just not going to happen.
Yes, there was actually a woman out there who thinks it's a good idea to do that.
Oh,
She
we
has-
got more videos.
Wait, to do what?
Urine enema. And that's not even the worst of the worst. I looked at some of the other stuff on her channel, and
Yeah, that's the mild part.
I can't. I mean, I don't know. I don't know why she's not banned. I mean,
Okay, but there's like a weird corner, like there's like a group of people who think that like urine is like a cure-all for like everything. Like, did you guys see like, that My Strange Addiction where there's that, like,
yeah.
like
Woman, oh, I just
that's horrifying.
washing her hair in it.
Just
Yeah.
everything with it.
Well, like Pissy Pete, he uses it to clear out his sinuses.
Oh,
And Listerine.
It's
Listerine.
literally like thinking about it is like making me gag right now.
I don't get it. I don't understand it. I really don't. And I never really want to be exposed to any of this stuff. But on the Geek Room, it's like I can't help myself. It's like what
It's
the
like
hell?
watching a train wreck. Like literally, it's like watching a train wreck. You just,
into that.
it's horrible, but you want to see it anyway.
But there's some good stuff too. Like not just like all gross stuff. Like I gotta admit, I was rolling on the floor the exorcism video.
Yes.
Good God, that was awesome. Explain that one. Tell people the exorcism one because I couldn't believe it.
Basically, I think it was in South Africa, and this guy was just going on. You know, you could kind of hear every other sentence, but if he was like someone that was selling a car, he would have sold you a car in like 5 minutes of walking onto the lot. But he was trying to exorcise this demon from this guy, and this guy was rolling on the floor and selling it. He gets a phone call in the middle of a exorcism.
The guy being
and
exorcised.
answers the damn and he answers the damn call. It's like, hold on, let me call you back. The preacher said, "Take your demons and leave." I was like, what the
So I guess what happened was like something like even demons got to answer the phone when the old lady calls, right? I mean, he literally stopped what he was doing, and he said, "I'm busy right now. I can't really talk." And the guy's like, "What are you doing?" He's like,
Guy's like, not the guy doing the exorcism, but the guy being exorcised.
Yeah.
Yeah, the guy being exercised stopped. He was
The possessed one, not the
he
demon.
was flailing around. He was like doing a little dance. He was like doing his "I'm possessed by a demon" thing, and then all of a sudden he just like stopped what he was doing and he just started answering the phone. He's like, "No, I can't really talk right now.
I am
busy."
doing something right now. Okay,
I'm busy being.
Oh, I'm
Need
trying to get
exercise.
exercise.
I'm busy getting my demons cast out.
Jesus. Sorry.
And yet everybody in that congregation, all of them, not a single one thought to themselves, "There's a problem here." All of them were like, "Oh, okay, go on, as you were."
Yeah, he just had a moment of lucidity, before the demon took over again.
I couldn't believe it. I had to ask Frankie like 2 times, "Is he really on a cell phone?" They're like, "Yeah, he's really on a cell phone." I was in disbelief. Not gonna lie.
Well, we're recording on a potato phone, so it was really kind of.
I know what it was. By the power of AT&T, I am Julie.
Yeah, the quality of these videos are not great. Let me tell you.
Could you imagine though if it was like a really important call? It's like, I'm sorry, can we do this exorcism later? I really gotta take this.
These demons got a hold on, all right?
Oh,
Sorry,
I'm sorry, man. It's my lawyer. I gotta take this.
it's God. It's God calling. It says, "Please stop."
Yeah,
Jesus on the phone for you.
it's Jesus.
Actually, what would have been even cooler if he just, "It's for you."
God wants you to quit.
That would be kind of cool, actually.
He said you're giving him a bad name.
That would have been
No, and
hilarious.
the guy on the other line of the phone would have to then say, "Has anybody talked to you about your PPI claims?"
Are you happy with your carrier?
Oh shit.
Well, if you guys have not seen the Geek Room yet, you guys are missing out. I don't know how they don't have at least 1,000 subs by now.
We're close. We are 929 right now.
Yeah, it's getting
again after
really
this
close.
upload, after it stays monetized for a little while, hopefully, which about 50-50 chance, even if I don't put anything on there anymore.
Oh no, you're already demonetized. I'm on here now.
Well,
Just
it's so hard to tell, man. It's like, I mean, right now it shows it's monetized, but you have the same problem, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We
So,
just like literally, I made show highlights from the show that you were on, and half of them are demonetized and half of them are monetized. But they're from the same show, but the original show is demonetized, so YouTube can't make up its damn mind. Right?
yeah, I don't know what the methodology is. And what's worse is once it gets demonetized, even if it gets reviewed, and I've had numerous ones reviewed. The one that Shannon did the other day with G-Man got demonetized.
That's unreal.
Yeah, I had it reviewed, and they said it's fine. And they remonetized it, but the problem is that that
You lose
metadata
your
doesn't
initial
come up there.
views.
But you lose the views in the interim, but also it doesn't get recommended in the future because the metadata still stays on there. And that was a great hangout. I mean, I really enjoyed that particular hangout. I think all of Shannon's hangouts are going to be great. Next one is going to be Rand Campbell. Yes, Rand Campbell, Wednesday night.
Shannon we got to get her some vodka.
Oh, that's going to be awesome. Well, Rand's not even the worst of them, right? I mean, Rand's at least a nice guy. I happen to like Rand. I think he's a batshit crazy dude. I think he's a Poe in many regards, but I actually like the guy. I have a very good rapport with him offline.
From what it sounds like, he does have like an online persona, and he hams it up a lot. The only time I've ever talked to him was he told me to go play in Traffic. So it wasn't a very good start off with Rand Campbell, but we didn't even riff any of his videos either. That's the funny thing was we did Rose Patton, and he's like,
I was going to have Rose.
I was like, all right.
No, I was going to have Rose.
I think it was the hot dog franchise line that was my favorite that he ever did.
Wow.
Completely random thought, Steve. Have you noticed a difference in monetization since switching your profile pic? I'm just wondering if maybe something in the YouTube system detects a black and white picture and thinks you're trying to steal old time movies or something.
No, it's about the same. It depends what I have in the video description. One word can just totally make it demonetized, or heretic cursing 24 hours a day.
Yeah, well.
But I know that going in when heretic comes in.
Well, it's my job.
But yeah, I know when stuff gets demonetized, and then
I was hoping Claim would say some more here because I've never talked to Claim. I've heard, but I've not.
Yeah,
talked to
he had
him.
a crappy mic. He'd make it back up though. Claim is a character. He's another young creationist.
I'm just glad that I never bothered monetizing my channel because the headache involved seems to be pretty ridiculous these days.
Well, it is, but I mean that's pretty much most of my support comes from.
Yeah,
it did come from monetization.
We never did it. We just always had a Patreon, so.
Yeah, I Patreon too, but Patreon got hit pretty hard too because of the Patreon issue. What they wanted to change things over. And people got mad at that, even though Patreon fixed their thing, and they said they weren't going to do it. A lot of people were not happy, and they opted out of Patreon. I get that, but it's been rough across the board. Everybody has taken a hit. That's why going into 2018 when we launched all this new stuff, we have a new separate podcast. Hopefully, we'll have new people come in and more people Patreon to a bunch of channels. Because it's tough right now. It's not gonna lie, it's very hard, and we all spend a lot of hours getting guests and getting shows and making preparatory work. I mean, you can't even imagine how much work has gone to this getting guests for this non sequitur show. I mean, hours. It's way more than 40 hours a week. Way more.
I do want to apologize. We got the whole chat talking about piss now.
They haven't stopped talking about it. Yeah, they stopped paying attention to us a long time ago. All they're listening to watching is Piss Girl.
I was trying.
What's her name? Rain something. Go ahead and tell it. I mean, I don't care. Rain something or other.
It's Rain Florence.
Rain
that's
Florence.
her channel name.
Check her out.
I was trying to trick Richard into into watching one of her videos. He said he wanted to see the. Let's see that. I thought he wanted to see the Bill's video, so I just threw him one where she was getting herself a coffee enema.
Yeah, we're way past the Bill Ludlow Eric Jewell discussion. We're onto all different territory here with coffee enemas.
Guys,
Oh
it's
my
nothing to do with the topic, but I do have to go
Hi,
to bed
Dress.
because it's almost midnight.
Okay.
Thank you, buddy.
All
Later,
right, Josh.
Josh.
Later.
Speaking of that, on our show last night, we got talking about Gwyneth Paltrow and her stupid goop, and we were looking on her page and so she has for sale on her site, and I think it's like something ridiculous, like $800, but it's a gold plated vibrator that you wear as a necklace everywhere you go.
Well, we have, I don't know if you know this, but scientist Mel and I have tweeted to her. We actually have an open letter that she's crafted that's going out.
I saw that.
Yeah,
Nice.
so I've been trying to get a hold of Gwyneth Paltrow and Goop, and I think she should be held accountable for what she's doing. And scientist Mel is leading the charge on this because Gwyneth Paltrow had said, if you're going to F with me, bring your A team. And scientist Mel is the A team. So I'm helping her lead that charge. I've been trying to get Gwyneth Paltrow to respond to these charges. I think they're absolutely something that should be addressed because I think she's either grossly incompetent and inept on basic science, or she's committing fraud.
Yes.
So I am not hesitant to say that. I find Goop to be disgustingly dishonest. It is pseudoscience. It's not even pseudoscience. It's so bad.
It's fakery. Like they even, the one that we saw under quote wellness was a spray that was supposed to calm your children. And like one of my co-hosts is a mom, and she was livid. She's like, "Holy fuck!" Like, no, it wasn't. Surprisingly enough.
Yeah, we had something like that when I was growing up. It was called pot.
Yeah.
Ever shotgun?
Yeah.
Shotgun your kid.
I've been shotgun before.
And actually, I've been watching Bill Nye's new second series that he came out on Netflix, and he started bringing in scientists from who would tweet at him. So I'm trying to get Mel to tweet at him so she can be brought on to Bill Nye's thing.
We were trying to get Bill, but the problem with Bill is that you have to go through so many hoops. He has a full team that vets things before he even bothers to go on. He's very, very concerned about his image.
Understandable, I guess.
I guess, but then he has the show like Bill Nye Saves the World, which has some pretty stupid stuff on it. Not gonna lie. And I think Bill did a really poor job with Ken Ham. Not gonna.
Yeah, there is that.
I like the guy, but I think he just shouldn't be doing certain discussions. But whatever. But yeah, no, we reach out to a lot of these people. I mean, we really do. So we'll get some of these people, and we got some big names coming up. Well, thanks to Eric, we got Richard Carrier coming in, not just once but twice.
Yeah.
Seems like a really nice guy, actually.
He is really nice.
That's going to be entertaining. He's going to be here on the February 14th, which is my birthday. And we're not sure what we're going to be talking about yet. We're going to play it by ear and then invite people in, and then whatever kind of comes out of that discussion, that's going to be what we have him talk about with somebody on our podcast on the 28th of that month. So
excellent.
Yep. What other guests we got coming in? That I'm still trying to get Richard Petty. That's going to be cool if I get Richard Petty. It's possible.
Anytime someone says Richard Petty, I start laughing because my dad hates Richard Petty.
I don't even know who Richard Petty is.
He's a NASCAR driver.
Yeah, he's a NASCAR driver.
No, and the only reason why it is because my dad's been named after him.
Yeah.
He fucking hates his.
Oh, that would be a problem. Yeah.
Well, all I know about Richard Petty is he's a NASCAR driver, and he's the guy who actually got Disney to put a NASCAR track in front of the Magic Kingdom in Florida here.
Oh, cool.
And you can actually drive a NASCAR if you want to. They will actually take you out, and they will take you out in one. And then if you pay enough money, which is an ungodly amount,
I wouldn't want to. I wouldn't even want to go to a racing event. To me, that'd be like hell. the smell of burnt rubber and sulfur.
It's boring.
I don't know.
I never understood the draw of watching the same cars go around in the same circles for hours.
Yeah, I don't get it either. I don't.
I just never. Like, I remember when I was a kid, we only had 2 channels. So on Sunday afternoon, there would be nothing but like Formula One or some shit on. And I remember just looking at it going, why would anybody watch this?
It's a big draw, though. Now,
Yeah.
I just got information that Landon is on his way back to the States. The ice barrier down there is holding up, and the Illuminati is pleased with our efforts. Thank you, Red Eye.
Oh, awesome. Awesome.
The Illuminati will not be executing us this week.
Good.
We've done good with dissemination of information. We'll make sure people don't have that truth out there that the Earth is flat. We'll make sure of that.
That's right.
On a related note, in Sean Hufford's hangout, was it yesterday? Sean Hufford had a hangout on a live stream, and one of the people from the South Pole was literally banning people from the chat. So he was a moderator. So people
You're talking about Geist View?
Geist View, yeah. Geist View was sitting there.
I love Geist View.
He was sitting there smacking people down from the South Pole, flat earthers.
Yeah, I always get invited to Sean's hangouts, and usually I'm actually not up to it when he does. But I'm moving away from flat Earth this year because I don't see a need for it any longer. It is just the most boring topic in the world to me. And if they want if they want to have hangout after hangout on that, more power to them. I'll watch it. Yeah, I do enjoy them, but I don't personally myself want to get involved with flat Earth that much this year. I just find it to be so dull.
It's the same thing over and over and over. There's just nothing. There's no variety to any of it. That's the same shit.
And
flat Earth is like NASCAR.
I'm not a big NASCAR fan. The only reason why I was going to ask Richard Petty to join, because we do have a connection with him, a strong connection to him, and why not? I was going to do it because people that like NASCAR, it wouldn't be for me. I know nothing about the guy except that he's like 80 now, and he was like number one for quite some time. But I don't follow NASCAR, but I know a lot of people that did, that they might be interested in it. That's the only reason why I thought it'd be cool to have him come on. But I know he's doing a lot of stuff on the circuit, talks, stuff like that. But we're gonna try to catch him when he's not busy and see what happens, because he lives next door to a friend of mine. So,
well, my thing with flat Earth is I just want to take what points they do have, the actual points, not the people. I don't care. I want to debate them. Don't want to get involved with specific individuals. I just want to take the points and do something that falsifies that point, and that's the end of it. That's as far as I want to take it. I want my channel to move on as quickly from that as it can and go on to other pseudoscience. That's it.
Yeah, that's all there is to it anymore. I mean, I understand flat Earth is growing a little bit, but I don't know. I'll leave it up to those guys debunking that.
I don't understand how that could possibly be growing. It boggles my mind.
Because they're preying to people that have no education whatsoever. They're going after people like in the entertainment business and the sports people, right? That just don't know much about science, and they're using their celebrity status to promote this narrative.
Yeah. Boggles my mind. I'm like, okay, I could even tell the Earth isn't flat just from being in an airplane. Okay, like just look out the fucking window.
Well, I mean, basic observations, you can tell the Earth is flat. So
Absolutely.
But anyways, guys, this has now gone for about an hour, and I know we kind of moved on, so I am going to be bringing this to a close. I just wanted to get a quick rundown, recap of Bill Lolo and Eric's discussion, because it was just, well, it was crap. It was just pure crap.
I gotta watch it.
Yeah,
I know. I gotta go watch it now.
It's on Bill Lolo's channel, so I'll definitely put the link in there. I don't really want to give Eric too much traffic. Oh
no. No.
And
there's nothing worthwhile to see on that man's channel.
and I'm recommending to everybody that look at this guy is just not worth talking to.
Nope.
Go watch any of his hangouts. Go watch the discussion I had with him that I had to upload to my channel because he deleted it. It's a very popular video now.
Yeah.
But he'll remove the ones that make him look bad, and then all the ones that actually still make him look bad, but he doesn't think so. He'll keep on, but he'll rewrite the narrative of them.
Absolutely.
So, just not really worth it.
He's like a 50-year something toddler, basically.
Well, actually, I really do think that he has some kind of strange mental disorder of some kind. I just don't know what.
I don't know. The only conspiracy that he didn't talk about on his channel was reptilians, and I was surprised at that because he talks about everything else.
It's one of those things that, look, when you start down the conspiratorial trail, it's a never-ending journey.
Yeah,
you just kind of like go from one to another to another,
looks,
right?
Yeah, everything's a conspiracy then.
Hey, Kaylin, you don't come in very often. It's been a long time since you've been in here. Do you want to get the last words so you can take us out?
Oh, I've actually got people in here, so I can't really.
Just say something profound.
I'm not capable. I don't know that I can. That's a lot of pressure right now, and I have
what could we make her say then that would be profound? Give her something, guys. What do you think about Trump?
Oh, I feel the same way I do about Eric, I think.